Good morning. I'd like to call the regular scheduled meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. It is Monday, April 17th, 2017. It is now 8:30. First order of business is the pledge. I'd like to ask Selectman Haverda to lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Charles. We have two items to add to the agenda. One is the request for a sign on the green. That we'll make that item 9-2. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. And I'd like to add under item, we'll make it 12-1, that's good, an executive session regarding a personnel item. Do I have a
So
motion?
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, now we can get back to formal agenda. Item 2, public forum, limited to 3 minutes regarding any agenda item. Anyone wishing to address the board on any agenda item. Mr. Siebert, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
You know the drill, is your name and address.
Jerry Silbert, 155 White Birch Drive, Chairman of the Guilford Green Committee, and hope you all had a very good Easter holiday.
Thank you, you as well.
Thank you. And I'm thinking of, I wanted to let you know about the deliberations of the Guilford Green Committee about the issue about allowing alcoholic beverages at an event on the green. I understand from my last visit to the Board of Selectmen meeting earlier last week that you were, disposed to approve their request for waiver. And the Guilford Green Committee had some suggestions to the Board of Selectmen with regard to the use of alcoholic beverages on the green. The vote carried unanimously. And what we suggested is that the alcoholic beverages be limited to wine and beer, so there wouldn't be any hard liquor served. That the Guilford Police be asked to check on the initial setup of the area so that it conforms to the policy approved by the Board of Selectmen. And that the application for the use on the green include a question on the application for the use of the green, whether they're requesting a waiver for the town ordinance prohibiting the possession or consumption of alcohol on town property. That's so the Guilford Green Committee should know whether they're going to request something. And that the responsibility for seeing that the policy is approved by the Board of Selectmen is being followed is the sponsor of the event. So that's the responsible party. And also that the policy allowing the serving of alcoholic beverages during an event on the green be included in the application for the use of the green for an event, so that they see what the requirements are right at the application level, and that the vendor of the alcoholic beverages is responsible for removing the bottles and cans of the beverages and not disposing them in the trash receptacles around the green. So many of these we probably could put in the application for use of the Guilford Green, so it's there for the applicant. And that's also approved by the Board of Selectmen once we bring that to the Board of Selectmen. So that's basically what the Guilford Green Committee recommended. And we hope you will agree to our suggestions.
Thank you. Also, I want to thank you and the Green Committee for moving up your schedule of your meeting.
Right.
I know you met a week or two earlier than you were scheduled to meet.
Right.
To specifically deal with this issue, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
And thank you for sending these minutes to us yesterday.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Jerry?
No, the only observation that I would make on this is that I go back to the police, or to the policy that we approved, and it says no person shall be permitted to leave the designated area with any type of alcoholic beverage. Because as I read through this, my first question is, okay, yeah, it's fine for the vendor to be responsible for bottles and cans, but if somebody's leaving with the bottles and cans, they end up somewhere else. But it's their responsibility to make sure that nothing leaves the area, so it can't find its way into other receptacles.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Good job.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again, I appreciate it. Anybody else wishing to address the board?
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead. Okay. Good
Morning.
morning. How are you?
Good.
Good. I could just talk to you about this issue.
I need your name
Oh,
and
I'm
address,
sorry.
please.
It's
Yeah.
Christine Doko, and it's 23 Mill Road.
Okay.
And I was going to say, I could just talk to you about this issue, but I'd rather just read what I have, so
Whatever
don't
you like. Okay.
leave anything out. So I live on Mill Road, and I walk or drive past the intersection of Cherry and North River Street several times a day. And if you don't know it, Cherry Street is an unlikely small treasure. Looking at this scenic country lane lined by stone walls and tall trees, you'd never guess that it's just a hop away from a bank and a CVS. Cherry Street is one of the things that drew us to this neighborhood, not just its charm, but the fact that it was narrow enough to deter cars from using it as a cut-through and to force those cars that did to go slow. For being so close to I-95 and Route 1, our neighborhood is remarkably peaceful and quiet. And for these reasons, I was disappointed to learn of the proposed tree removal and road widening project on Cherry Street, which is in conjunction with the development of the lots along North River Street across from the pond. My neighbors and I stand to lose a beautiful view and gain more cars moving faster through our neighborhood. And if there are benefits to us, I'm not aware of them. If existing trees must be removed, then the town should plant tall native replacement trees to maintain the appearance of the street and the highway noise protection that the existing trees provide. If the street absolutely must be widened, it should be widened only to the minimum extent necessary. Another idea to consider is making Cherry Street one-way, which would give Cherry Street residents easy access to Route 1 and Church Street while minimizing through traffic. Now, Guilford is a town of extraordinary beauty, which we all know and appreciate, both natural and man-made. And the historic houses, the green, and the open space, it all shows an ongoing commitment to protecting what cannot be replaced. As our representatives, I hope that you'll represent the views of the people in our neighborhood and leave Cherry Street and us in peace. Thank you.
Just as a point of information, the Tree Advisory Board will be holding a public hearing tomorrow night, April 18th, at the community center, and we'll have a site walk at 6:30, and the public hearing will begin at 6:45, and then you're welcome to make a comment there also.
Great, thank you
Okay?
very much.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hello,
Good morning.
good morning. My name is Valerie Brown, and I live at 100 Cherry Street. I'm speaking to the same issue, and we are aware of the hearing Tuesday night, but we've come this morning, those of us speaking about this, specifically about the plans to widen the road, which would be more, I believe, a town decision and a town project. The trees obviously are impacted by this decision, but the widening of the road in itself would be, we think, a very detrimental to the area. So I'll just read the letter that I'll be leaving with you, which supports all of what Christina said. The intersection of Cherry Street and North Cherry Street, the latter a narrow extension of the small street that goes over a wooded rise on the eastern side of the mill pond, is one of the special Guilford moments. These are the small visual delights that take one by surprise. Suddenly, a vista to the sound, a glitter in light opens up, or glimpses of farmed meadow or the salt marshes momentarily become wide open. There are times when you find your car or bike riding alongside a brimming high tidal river or woodland brook. The town used to abound with such natural gems. Those, of course, accompanied by so many of our well-preserved old homes and barns. But Guilford is not exempt from progress, growth, and of course accompanied by so many well-preserved. But Guilford is not exempt from progress, growth, and despite the often well-orchestrated efforts to preserve that which matters while lucrative lands are developed, many of these undesignated pretty scenes are disappearing. In their place, a new look is emerging. Beware when you look towards the water, some of the enormous structures do appear more appropriate for the Costa del Sol, and it is becoming hard to believe, as you look out the train window, that yes, it is the Guilford train station you're approaching. This is what makes the quote-unquote mauling of a small scenic corner so sad. It's not pretentiously beautiful, simply a very old road, it does appear on the earliest maps of Guilford, lined by crumbling stone walls and abundant trees. These make up the wooded area that surround the mill pond on 3 sides. Many enjoy this quiet corner while fishing or skating on the pond or just sitting on the surrounding benches, recently built and donated by the Boy Scouts. It's a neighborhood with children and dogs for whom the lack of traffic is a big plus. It's just a lovely scenic moment, tucked away in downtown Guilford, nice to live in, nice to come to for recreation, or simply to come upon and be surprised by an unexpected pleasant sight. Do we really have to lose the spirit of the place completely? The old road widened considerably, trees cut, probably clear-cut, ledge probably blasted as well, just so a few more houses can be built? Constructed in land that many pond visitors no doubt think is part of the Mill Pond Park. The degree to which the safety of residents and visitors will be threatened is no doubt addressed further in other letters. The importance of considering how a wider, faster road used to bypass Route 1 will negatively impact the existing short strip, already made precarious by its sharp, low visibility curve, cannot be overstated. But the object of this letter is to make you aware of what you're signing off on. It's not just another subdivision in the widening of a road. In doing so, you are taking out, completely, forever, obliterating one more of the hidden visual gems this town is so lucky to have. Once they no longer exist, it will be hard to remember this was a truly unique New England town, prized not only for its wealth of preserved architecture and streetscapes, but for all the unexpected patches of natural delight. Please take a hard look at what you will be allowing to be destroyed. Not such a big deal, you'll be thinking? Then try to find anything like it in this downtown or those around us. Respectfully, Valerie Brown.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you'd like to leave your letter, and the young lady was before you, and we'll forward them to the public hearing tomorrow night, if you want us to, and become part of that record, because this board right now does not have any jurisdiction over the issue right now. So
Of the road itself?
with the issue of the trees, okay? So I would gladly forward them to the Tree Advisory Board and make it part of the public hearing record, if you wish us to do so. Okay?
Yeah, I do want to reiterate that my concern is about the widening of the road itself. I mean, even if some of the trees were left, if the road is widened the way the flags indicate it will be, the entire look of the area will not only be changed, but the use of the road will be changed
Okay.
in a dangerous way. And that, I would think, would be your jurisdiction, no?
If we're requested to do so, yes.
Okay.
But if you'd like to leave that letter with
Yes,
us,
definitely.
we'll send it to the Tree Advisory
Okay.
Board and make that part of their record in the public hearing. Anybody else?
Hi,
Good morning.
good morning. Kerry Grasensky, also from 100 Cherry Street. Unfortunately, I can't make the meeting tomorrow night. I'll be at Brown University teaching a class. I'll just read the letter I have
Okay.
to follow up from my wife. So, historic Cherry Street in Guilford. appears on the earliest maps of the town, used centuries ago by oxen transporting ice from the mill pond to Guilford Green, I'm sure, as we all know. Left alone as it largely has become over time an important and charming, preserved, unique example of a country lane so close to any such town. Fair Street connects to it directly, and as it is one of the most historically relevant streets of preserved houses of multiple architectural styles, the connection from the Mill Pond area up quaint Cherry Street, down Fair Street, and over to the Green is an important way of travel to town, and a main reason we chose to live at 100 Cherry Street, where this stretch begins by the pond. At the base of the hill, just past the intersection with North River, is a small indentation between the trees, which, if slightly widened, can act as a safe driveway into any possible development. A small road extending just above North River would cause no traffic disruption, would allow for trucks to enter for the building phase, which might be a concern, given where the driveway is situated on the plan, which we haven't seen, but we assume based on conversations, and allow Cherry Street and its historic nature to be preserved as is for both current and future generations. There are a number of similar driveways on the other side of Cherry Street, which operate similarly, making widening Cherry Street and taking down the marked trees unnecessary. There's also a question as to whether Cherry Street is within the National Register Historic District. We're looking into this, or regardless, by the spirit of the importance of preservation in Guilford that we all share, should be considered as preciously worthy of keeping as is. In a town that values architectural preservation as it should, the selectmen should do everything it can to honor that spirit. Without any further development of the land, certainly the town would have taken no action on widening Cherry Street, nor should it. We urgently request the selectmen look closely at our suggestions, and if not valid, extend this conversation to try to come up with a solution amenable to everyone's view, which seems eminently possible and therefore should be explored. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
She'll take care of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning.
Christine Cohen, 308 North River Street. I don't have anything formal prepared. I submitted, a letter to Mr. McGee regarding the trees along Cherry Street. I live in that neighborhood. I'm at the base of the road, and am first and foremost concerned with the colonial integrity of the town, as stated by my neighbors in a very eloquent fashion. So that's my main concern. Obviously, traffic concerns me as well, and the widening of that road would make that road become quite a pass-through as a connection to 95. As well as downtown from that neighborhood, as well as, just avoiding the traffic lights. So I just wanted to state for the record my concerns, and I will be attending the hearing tomorrow night as well. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Noemi
Morning.
Kearns, and I own 303 North River Street. Our property actually goes all the way back to Cherry Street, and we own the stone walls that would potentially be destroyed in terms of the widening of the street. We purchased the home. It's a 200-year-old carriage house because of the integrity and the history within Guilford. I can't begin to state as poetically as my neighbors did my objection to this. However, 2 weeks after we purchased our home, the field across the street became a development. We've lived through the blasting of the old newspaper building when they put in the 3 condos. I won't go into my objection with that either. The reality is, not to get emotional about this, but just purely from a financial standpoint, there's no feasible reason to take on the expense of widening the road. The blasting that's going to need to occur for that development to take place in the first place is, I don't know if any of you have walked by, it's all ledge. I mean, it's going to be a phenomenal undertaking just to squeeze the development in, have septic. The runoff of the road currently comes down Cherry Street into our driveway, which is wetlands in the front. It won't be safe. There's no benefit whatsoever. I understand development needs to happen. It saddens me to no end, but to widen the road won't have any impact except negative impact on the neighborhood, and it'd be a financial burden. The challenge is there's property in the middle that's owned by someone that isn't owned by this development currently. It's another 7.4 acres. So the widening of the road at this point would only be from North River to Cherry. It's flagged and designated to essentially the width of 2 cars. As you come to the approach of the hill, there's the driveway, Hope's driveway on Cherry Street, and our stone wall. It narrows to a single car length. Her driveway comes down at a steep incline, 200-year-old stone walls. Ours is as well. The only way to then widen the road from a funnel, which is what's actually flagged and planned right now, to continue through the rest of Cherry Street, is to destroy both sides of the road. There's no other way to do it. I spoke to our neighbors, John and Mary Spradlin, who unfortunately couldn't be here today because they're in Florida. They own the property on the other side of us, on the continuation of the stone wall on Cherry Street. They're strongly opposed. They wish they could be here. They have written letters. I also spoke with Carol Moore, who's lived in Guilford for more than 50 years. She plans on coming tomorrow night as well. Her property has already been taken over as far as possible. She owns the corner lot on Cherry Street that then faces Webster Bank. She's also very discouraged with what continues to happen in the neighborhood in terms of the development. You can't take any more of her property. It's already been taken. So the blasting would then happen on the back of the condominium. So I really ask you to consider, look at the neighborhood and see what you'd be doing that would be irreversible and completely disruptive to the neighborhood and, in my opinion, the town of Guilford. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? Okay, thank you. Seeing that no one else, we'll move on to item 3, approval of the minutes. 3.1, approval of the minutes of April 3rd, which was a regular meeting.
Move their approval.
Is there a second? Second, all right. Any additions or corrections?
Yes, under 4.1, I don't think that the town did not purchase a slave in 1972. It was 1792. If it was 1972, we'd probably have pension and medical benefits due.
Mitch, is that correct? Actually, we do. We just call him secretary.
Oh!
You want to give me union problems now? Okay. Any other corrections?
No.
Okay. Seeing no other corrections, I'll move that the minutes be accepted as corrected. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 4, Board of Education Director of Operation and Facilities, Cliff Gurnham. 4.1, discuss and take possible action to contract with the architectural engineering firm for the town on-call list for the Melissa Jones roof replacement. Morning, Cliff.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
So this
Welcome.
project is running through the Standing Building Committee, as you know. A few years back, we did replace the flat roofs over at Melissa Jones, and we're continuing on the roof. The present roof, which is the shingle roof that's left, is about 25 plus years old. We had a survey done by CWA, and the results of that did recommend that the roof be replaced in the near future. So we'd like to move ahead and start the engineering and architectural work. As you know, these projects that we push to the state take an extended period of time, so we do try to start relatively early on the design work so we can file with the state. So we had 3 proposals that came in from the on-call architect list. We did request 4, the 4th bowed out from giving us a proposal. From the 3 proposals, CWA ended up being the lowest proposal. The Standing Building Committee reviewed and selected and made the recommendation that we do move forward with CWA on the architectural design of the replacement shingled roof at Melissa Jones School. So we're looking for a recommendation to move forward with them.
I would move that we approve CWA in the amount of $27,400.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay. 4.2, discuss and take possible action to award engineering survey for HVAC and, electrical system for the town on-call list from Baldwin, Melissa, Jones, and Cox Schools. Cliff?
So this project is being pushed forward so that we can gain additional information as part of the potential energy performance contract that we're looking at doing with Johnson Controls. The reason for this is we want to make sure we have a clear understanding of some of the existing HVAC work that's coming down the pike, as well as the condition of the electrical systems in a few of the buildings, in order to ensure that the work done by the energy performance contract coincides and works with any upgrades that we might be doing, and ensure that our electrical capability can handle anything we may be putting in or taking out, if we're increasing or decreasing the load. So if we do a solar project, technically that will decrease our load, but we do have new electrical demands potentially with new electrical equipment going in, HVAC equipment, air handlers, things of that. So we want to make sure we have a full understanding of what we have existing as we move forward with these various projects. So that's what this proposal will take care of in doing these surveys, is to make sure we have all that information. So we went out to the on-call architects and engineering firms, all four. All four firms did give us proposals for the work for both the HVAC and electrical. We did a scope review with the lowest bidder or proposal, which was BL Companies. BL Company we have used in the past. They actually did the window and security upgrades at Cox recently, about 4 years ago, and that project went smoothly and well. So the Standing Building Committee reviewed the proposals and selected the lowest proposal, which was BL Companies, in the amount of $22,300. So we're looking to move forward with them for the surveys. And just for the record, those surveys will be done at Baldwin, Melissa Jones, and Cox Elementary School.
Any reason why there's such a difference in the bids?
Again, we did a scope review. I think part of it has to do with how well some of the firms know the buildings already. So we know Cox has been in here. We know BL Companies has been in here. They know Cox already pretty well. They've bid on other projects, so they do know some of the other buildings. I think that's part of the reason. And then what they have on their plate as far as work came into play. I mean, I know that's why one of the firms didn't bid on the other proposal that we just went through, is because they have a relatively full amount of work already scheduled for the summer. So I think it's a combination of those things.
I would move that we award the contract for the surveys to BL Companies in the amount of $22,300.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? And all of these four companies are on the on-call list anyway.
Correct.
Any further questions? Not call for vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Cliff.
Thank you. Have a good day.
This will all start right after school is out?
No, we actually want to start this as soon as possible on both of these. We have to file with the state for June 30th for the roofing project. And then we need the HVAC and electrical stuff as soon as possible, especially if we move forward with the energy performance contract. So we want to get this going in the next week or so.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Your knee's better, huh?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, item 5, Finance Director Mary Jane Malavesi, received monthly report. Good morning.
Good morning. Here are copies of the revised report. Thank you for your patience as we move forward trying to download the right type of reports directly from Munis, so we're working through that as each month goes by. Just changed a couple of the percentages.
So you handed out the expenditures. You want to start with that?
Sure.
Or the revenue?
Sure. At the end of March, 75% through the year, we are 73% spent. So that percentage does put us right on track, especially just a little bit higher than last year, but again, right where we should be. I don't really have anything new to report. Most of the items have already been discussed at prior meetings. But if you have any particular questions, I'll try to answer them for you.
I had asked Mary Jane to look at where we are, a little bit more detail, only because we had a freeze on the capital expenditures through the winter. And she gave me the good news that we're in pretty good shape. We're right on budget. So at my last department head meeting, which was last Tuesday, I announced to the department heads that I released the freeze on capital expenditures, and now they can go ahead with their capital expenditures that have been budgeted for this fiscal year. So we're okay. And the reason, if you can remember why I put the freeze on, was because the ECS funding, which we get from the state, was cut by $171,000. And we were heading into the winter. We didn't know what type of winter faced us at that time, so I wanted to hold off any capital expenditure spending until we went through the winter. And we were lucky, and we had a pretty mild winter, so. Gary.
You're referring to capital expenditures in the operating.
That's correct.
Not bonded.
No, not bonded.
Operating.
Bonded is committed.
We were worried
Yeah.
about the bottom line in
Yeah.
the operating
Understood.
budget.
Right. I didn't want to run into a deficit situation at the end of June.
Correct.
And it looks like well, she's going to tell you about the revenue, but we're in pretty good shape right now, it looks like. Yeah. Okay.
Correctly.
Mary Jane, can you refresh me on the debt retirement, principal and interest? I know that's a partial offset, and some of that has to do with recasting some of the debt, but that will come in.
Correct, it'll be made whole at the end of the year through reserves.
Okay, so it will be, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's part of the refunding proceeds that we've set aside on our balance sheet accounts as far as our fund balance. So it'll be made whole.
So as far as expenditures, it looks like we're right on target then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially
Including-
since we do have some of those transfers that have yet to be made
Right.
back in.
Right.
With reval is the same thing. There's a reserve for reval that will make that line whole as well.
Including encumbrances.
Correct, including
Okay.
encumbrances.
Okay. Okay. Any questions? Want to move on to revenue then?
Kind of have the same story with revenue.
Revenue looks pretty good though.
Revenue is looking very good. A lot of the line items that we had been looking at through the last few months have come back up to where we expect them to be. We are virtually right on line as where we were last year. So unless you have any specific questions, I really don't have anything new to report on the revenue, other than looking very good, and with the revenue and where we expect the expenses to be, we shouldn't have any problem at the end of the year.
I will just comment, you might see that the selectmen, our budget, looks very
Right.
good on revenue.
We had
We've
some-
exceeded our budget.
Sale of some surplus equipment
Right.
comes in through that line,
Yeah.
so that's,
So we're doing better than everybody else.
Which department lets you get away with that one? Because we didn't own the equipment, did we?
No, it's Public Works. It's all the
Yeah.
scrap in Public
Yeah,
Works. that we
and
got rid of.
they let you
Yeah.
get away with that one.
Well, not, we're going to have to credit them back eventually.
Okay.
But for now, it looks good.
that's where it is.
Okay.
So, actually, it's over $10,000 that we've gotten from selling scrap equipment and parts and
Historically,
scrap metal. and
Portly
stuff.
always comes up with a reason for a way to use that.
Yeah. It's their equipment,
It-
but,
Right, and it's there.
and
Out
Pam
in
has
the
done a
open
real
for everybody
good,
to see.
real good job with the policies and procedures that we approved a while ago and how to get rid of it. It's a very fair policy and procedures. It goes out to bid. And these are old pickup trucks and plow blades and scrap metal.
Yeah, the Public Works Commission really was on it.
Yeah,
so,
and
yeah.
kudos to the Public Works Commission. But, you know, it goes into our budgets, but eventually it will be transferred out, yeah.
We take credit, but we also make
But
sure
it's
we know where it's from.
$10,000
Right.
of scrap that was just
Absolutely.
sitting down there and we got rid of.
Mhm.
But,
We're no longer storing and taking up room for something else.
I mean,
That's
there
good.
have literally been some things at the transfer station that I noticed in the past month or two are gone.
Yeah.
That have been there for years. They're sitting there for years.
But it was an effort that really the Public Works Commission
Good.
pushed, so kudos to them.
Ask them to look at some of the material at Sullivan Drive too, on the way into the stump dump.
It's stumped up, yeah.
There's some metal and stuff that's been there for years.
But Mr. Mitchell has been spearheading that, and Mr. Larkins on the commission has they really done a good job on that.
Good.
Okay. Anything else on the revenue?
No, not unless,
Okay.
something else?
Any questions? All right. Want to go to insurance?
Sure. You'll see in March, our claims for the month kind of went up a little, back to almost our budget for that month. Although bottom line, we are still, showing very good savings in our expenditures overall. The catastrophic claims is through February. We do have over $371,000 worth of savings in there as well. And as I noted last month, we're seeing lower claims in some months because they're being caught up in these catastrophic claims area. But still, overall, we are projecting a $2.4 million fund balance at the end of the year as we stand today.
Are we starting to see, on the Board of Ed side, the employees that are on the HSA starting to hit their limit on the deductibles? And
It is
like we
possible,
thought we would
right.
at this time of the year, and now we're paying for those bills?
It is extremely possible that is where we are. I don't specifically know, which claims are made up in here.
Right.
But yes, we've been kind of hinting that may happen, and it's quite possible that is the reason for that amount being up this month.
Because I think even the Human Resources Director had warned us, and he's sitting
Correct.
right there,
Mhm.
right, Mitch?
Yep.
That towards the end of the year, we would see the claims increase because of the HSA plans.
But even
Right.
if that
Yeah.
happens, unless they're catastrophic illness, which would have kicked in, that's just gonna be back to the normal flow of
Right.
what the cost
Right.
would have been.
Right.
Correct. So up until now, the assumption is
It
the
is,
employees have been
reduced
paying their
costs, yeah.
deductibles,
Right.
and now.
They've hit their
it's in-
deductibles.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's still good, but
Yes.
we've been writing on low claims all
Correct.
through the year.
That's why we've been leery to, want to use any of the surplus, because
Right.
until we've
Yeah.
had the HSA for a little
Anything
while,
can
it's
happen.
too hard to know
Mhm.
where we're going. It's too big of a change
Yeah.
for us to,
We don't have any history yet.
exactly right.
Right.
Exactly
Good.
right.
Okay. Anything else?
I would just, and you've heard this from me before, but if this surplus continues and the budget continues, I guess in conjunction with the Board of Finance, I'd like to start reserving for, capital expenditures that we typically budget for, and also look at the OPEB category and look at whether or not we can put some of this away, because that's a liability that is there and is growing, and I just assume pre-fund it in a rational manner. So hopefully, Once we find out what the state is doing.
I was about to say,
Once we find out what the state is doing, I would like to
More
have
answers, but-
a discussion about those subjects.
We might have other uses.
yeah,
Yeah, I just,
the chairman of the Board of Finance and I have been looking at a couple of reserves. This would be one of them. We would look at if the state doesn't in fact come back with
Yeah.
more cuts.
no, I understood. I just wanted to get out there that if these issues hold, we ought to start pre-funding some of this stuff.
I agree.
Makes a lot of sense to look at OPEB for,
I look
The
at that
same, yeah.
OPEB number and it just worries me.
Yeah, I mean, it's goes to what the rating agencies have been saying, that we look at this stuff and we have the availability to plan now. Irregardless of what the state's gonna do, you don't know, but, okay, anything else for the finance director? Okay, thank you, Mary
Thank you,
Kay,
Mary Kay.
appreciate it. Okay, put our finance package away for a moment. Moving on, we'll have to, okay, item 6, remove from the table and take possible action on a request from the Guilford Arts Center to waive section 214-2, small a, of the town code to allow the serving of beer and wine during its craft expo on the green taking place July 14th to the 16th, 2017. So I'll need a motion to remove from the table. That's our first one.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Joe, I
Gary.
would move that we approve this subject to the 5 conditions, which I think are easily met, recommended by the Green Committee, with the understanding that their recommendation is that this be part of the application, and this is after the fact, so that's not going to happen, but
Right.
subject to the terms or subject to the issues raised by the Town Green Committee.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. I wholeheartedly agree with the motion. I think it was a good process. Again, I applaud, first of all, the police department and Chief Hutchinson for doing a good job on putting the policy together, which, by the way, we did approve at the last meeting. And also the Green Committee for weighing in on their piece of the policy. So I will support that motion. Anybody else? I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. It was a good process. It took a while, but we got it done.
Well, and the cooperation of the applicant just made it so much easier, and I think the applicant realizes that this is the first experience.
Yeah. It went well last year, but the police chief saw that there could be potential issues for future events, not so much with the expo, but with other groups, and in his wisdom, decided to put the policy together, which was a great idea. Okay, on to 7, discuss and take possible action to set the annual town meeting date of Monday, May 2017, 7 p.m. at the Guilford Town Hall. Do we have a motion, please? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We have something to sign on that, Tracy? Okay, you have the original? Yeah. All right, before we leave, gentlemen, we can sign that. Okay, correspondence, so we have the Public Works monthly report and the building officials' monthly report. Item 9, request for the use of town property. We have 2, because we've added 1 in the beginning of the meeting, 9.1 and 9.2.
I would move that we approve the use in 9.1 and the sign in 9.2 as delineated in the agenda.
Do we have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Committee reports, I don't have anything. Anybody? Old business, I would just remind our seniors Time is running out to apply for the senior tax freeze program. The deadline is May 15th, so today is the 17th, so you got less than a month to apply, so please do so down in the assessor's office. New business, anybody?
Old
Pam?
business, did you want to talk about electricity?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Could be new or old, but,
Could be new or old.
yeah, let's talk about our electric bid. Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning.
On April 11th, we participated in the CCM electricity bid. You had previously authorized the first selectman to consider the bids when they came in and award. We met, it was the first selectman, the finance director, Cliff Gurnham, Linda Trudeau, and I received the bids on April 11th. There were 4 companies that bid, Constellation, EDF, Public Power, and TransCanada. Our current contract expires December 2017. We have participated in this bid twice before, and how it occurs is CCM has a consultant called Bay State, and they're on the conference call with us and explaining and recommending what to award. We also, given the fact that the performance contracting is kind of on the horizon, and we understand that there might be changes to our, with solar panels, et cetera, we wanted to be clear that we were taking that into consideration with the bids, the possible modification of how much electricity we use and whether the bid still stood, given that. And Cliff got his consultant on the phone while we all considered the bids to make sure that we were, that the bidders really understood what might change within our electric use. And so we got comfortable with that based on relying on the consultant. In any case, it was recommended and awarded that the town and schools contract for 3 years beginning December 2017. The awarded company is Public Power. It's a fixed, all-inclusive rate, which was recommended, and the total rate, which includes, the CCM takes a little fee, a participation fee, to pay for the consultant and all the guidance, is a 0.07072 per kilowatts. It's considered, pretty good contract, and it was so awarded, and the superintendent and the first selectman signed the contracts as of April 11th.
Any questions? Comments? Okay. All right, thank you, Pam.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, back to new business. I just, any comments on Cherry Street that we want to discuss at this point?
I would just like to make note that one of the speakers talked about Carol Moore's house, which is on the Webster Bank end, and that the town has already taken as much of the land in front of her house as possible. Across the street is the opening to what was the Guilford Institute and now is the condo.
Right.
They had to blast some of that ledge out, but they were able to leave some of the old stone there because the drill marks are still in the granite. When that property was given for the Institute by Mrs. Griffith, they actually quarried the stone from that ledge to build the Institute. So some of those stones are really historic. That was the first central school, 1854. And if they had to blast to widen the road, they'd have to blast on the condo side, which would destroy even more of that ledge. I mean, I know the road's narrow, I know it's
It is.
uneven, I know there's
drainage doesn't exist, I don't think. But I think we should be as cognizant of the requests as possible and still do what has to be done for public safety, because it is kind of a dangerous one-way road. I've had some preliminary discussions with Kevin McGee, who is the tree warden, and with Jim Portley, who's our town engineer, amongst other hats that he wears. Jim was on vacation last week, so he's back today, I believe. Looking into the possibility of keeping it, or not keeping it, but making it a one-way street. Of course, that's not our decision. That's the decision of the traffic authority in this town. If people are not aware, the traffic authority is the police commission.
Right.
Okay.
Is there a way to limit access? I know there's a couple other roads off of Boston Street where very limited access just for local residents and that type of thing. So I understand the maintenance part of repairing this road, but I agree with Carl that it is a neat little lane. If there was some way to, it's being driven by development, so we have a chance maybe for the developer to participate in some of this cost, but find another entrance or something, because it is a neat little road. And if there's some way to overcome the maintenance issue, I'd like to see that.
I don't know, I didn't follow this as it went through P and Z. It came to my attention when they started getting emails regarding
one
the
comment.
trees, that's how it came to my attention. I spoke to Kevin about it, and then I called Jim into my office, and because Jim and I and Kevin had a short meeting about it, because I was getting all these emails, and then I seen the road. I've been up and down it quite a few times and reacquainted myself with the road, and I thought, well, this is pretty narrow.
Yeah.
So I will have another conversation with Jim and see what the results of this public hearing is tomorrow, because it's not our responsibility about the trees. I mean, we could weigh in as private individuals, but my feeling is it should be, they should really consider it being a one-way street.
What is the timing of, I understand that there's the tree advisory committee meets tomorrow night. What is the timing of any actual physical activity? Or any decision to actually do anything with the road?
It depends on what happens tomorrow night, Gary, and I don't know. At this point, I don't know.
I thought that was driven by the development, because I know the developer made some comment that, it's considerable expense to them also. So they might be amenable to alternatives. One woman suggested an alternative drive or something like that. Maybe that's a way to tackle their issue, but we still have a maintenance of the road issue.
Yeah.
And that's where,
Joe used the term reacquaint, which obviously I made a couple of notes. I'm going to reacquaint myself with that particular area over the next
it's a
couple of
neat
days.
little road.
It is.
But there's some way you can
It's
Is it possible
it's
that
hilly
in the
and-
near future we could either have a meeting here or maybe as a workshop with Portley, the developer, and just look at what the plans are?
I'll be happy to convene a workshop.
or let it work through the process first. 'Cause
Well, we gotta-
don't know what's going to happen with the public hearing.
We don't know.
Maybe-
Right, no, I understand. I don't want to interrupt
We-
anything,
we
but I
can't-
just,
We can't interfere with, you're right, with the process. So let tomorrow happen.
Well, we
And
can
then
bring
after
it to everyone's attention that, we are interested in responding to that.
right.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to make any comment until, Carl, we know Carl was there cutting the stone that he was referring to before, but I'd like to
I
reacquaint
used to
myself
live over
with
that way. I
the
remember a car getting stuck on that driveway. I mean, he tried to turn up the driveway and got hung up.
Yeah, I'm not prepared to comment without revisiting the
It
roads,
is a
but.
little road, I mean,
Yeah,
but it's
I
not a
know- I know
road,
it
it's
is.
a lane or whatever you.
I mean-
But I think a discussion with some relevant,
Yeah.
maybe the developer and maybe
I mean,
engineering and the tree people
it's
would
extremely-
be helpful, yeah.
It's extremely narrow, the
Yeah.
town,
Understood.
vehicle, that the town provides me with is not a small vehicle, and, you know, it's,
Right.
to have somebody pass on the other side is tough.
Yeah.
I'm driving up it. So, let's see what happens tomorrow night, and then I will gladly call a meeting or workshop of this board after we see what happens tomorrow, if that's okay with the members here.
Yeah,
Terrific.
good plans.
Great,
Okay, good,
great.
all right. Okay, public forum. Unless Zoe wants to come up here, we're, okay, all right? All right, we'll go into executive
We
session,
go into executive session.
which will just be the board members.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mike, we may come back for a vote, okay? And he puts the camera on.
Oh. Mike, don't you have this on tape? Move that we come out of executive session?
Second.
Okay, seeing no further business, I'll need a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.